New tariffs at a glance. Semiconductors up to 50%. Steel and aluminum products up to 25%. Electric vehicles 100%. Lithium batteries and critical minerals up to 25%. Solar cells up to 50%. Ship-to-shore cranes up to 25%. Rubber, medical, and surgical gloves. Oh, man, nothing happened recently that might make me want the cheap availability of medical equipment. No. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. It's all fine. Yeah, 100% tariff isn't psychotic. You know, don't we want a US-based medical supply chain? Maybe we should make it here then, rather than arbitrarily tariff the production in other countries. If you want to establish a domestic production base, establish a domestic production base. This is not being done to like benefit us in the long run supply line wise. We're reading this article and the other economists are like, yeah, this is being done for political reasons. And yeah, this is being done to like protect American industry and shore up votes. Why are you arguing against me? Kowalski, why are you arguing against me? You're arguing against the economists and the we saw it from the New York Times. We've seen it in BBC. We're literally reading people saying, quote, yeah, Vaush is right on this. And you're like, no, actually, it's good. Like, what do you, come on, man. Economists don't like this. Economists don't like tariffs. Why are you arguing with the world? You're not just arguing against me. You're arguing with God. You're shaking your fist at the sky. Shut up. They're saying it. The Biden administration is saying it. They're not saying, we need to do this in order to secure a more local supply chain in case of future. They're saying, no, we're trying to protect local industry. Stop shaking your fist at God. I work in an industry getting hit by a tariff. It's not making businesses move their stuff back to the US. They're moving to South America instead. Yeah, it doesn't work. Economists don't like this. I'm like my arguments. I wield in my left fist I hold reasonable arguments, and in my right fist I hold banning all of you. That's enough. It's done. It's settled as far as I'm concerned. You're all Trump voters, okay? We're not doing this, okay? I'm not getting argued into the concept of a trade war. If you want to like supporting a trade war, if you want to promote local industry, there are ways of doing that. This isn't it. Like no economist would disagree with me on this. This is like an unambiguous all right. Okay, we hate Biden. That's what we're coming away from this with. That's how we feel, you know. Where do you get it towed to without a dealership to work in it and put parts to put in it? Hey man, if we didn't have arbitrary anti-free trade tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, they would sell in the United States. So they would open dealerships in the United States. Also, if you want a car to be repaired, you don't need to take it to a dealership. You can usually just take it to an auto shop. Vehicles tend to work pretty reliably. Auto shop workers are trained on different vehicles, and they have like documentation on vehicles if they want to do anything specific. They wouldn't be operating in the dark. You know, people can read Chinese. They could publish their documentation in English and like, hey, there's damage to this part. Here's a booklet on it. You know, not with EVs, you need specific shops. Okay, then you can just do that with the shops that already repair EVs. That's not like a China-specific thing. None of this is a defense of the tariffs. Would you support the semiconductor tariff considering the clear cyber risk? No! You want your graphics cards to cost $5,000 again? Subsidize the industry. If you want domestically produced semiconductors, then subsidize it and invest in it until they can produce the semiconductors at lower prices than foreign competitors. Invest in it. That's what China did to make their cars cost so little. Subsidies require Congress. Tariffs only require the president. That's not my problem, frankly. What's the benefit of domestic production again? You get to jerk yourself off about how you're buying American. For the most part, domestic production is a waste of time in the USA. We should only do it for strategic resources. We're a wealthy country. We should focus on stuff like tech, service work, that kind of stuff. The idea of paying American workers to do things that could be done at the same level of quality and infinitely cheaper in a foreign country makes absolutely no sense. We should try to uplift the workers of the world broadly with policies that incentivize those countries to impose like greater standards of work, like workplace hazard safety or just general quality of work. But none of that is fixed by just like doing stuff American. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. We've been trying to do this for 50 years and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. The opposite trends. This is basic Marxism. This is basic material conditions. You can fight against it as much as you want, okay? But the interests of the bourgeoisie will always be to cut costs, and that means opening foreign plants. And you're not going to fix that fundamental incentive by putting forward tariffs, because they're just going to find some new way to deprive the domestic working base of capital. Like, they're just going to find, like, you impose tariffs. It's not like all these companies are making shit in America. The idea is completely laughable. Were we at risk from Japanese auto manufacturers when Honda and Toyota invested tens of billions of dollars in manufacturing facilities here in the USA? Yeah. Wait, yes? Wait, fear of foreign competitors has literally been one of the driving forces of the American... Wait, go look at the history of, like, Ford and GM complaining about Toyota or whatever. Yes? Yeah. Trust me, guys, if Ford got their way, you wouldn't be able to buy a Toyota, okay? If Ford got their way, the only car that it would be legal to drive in the United States would be an F-150, all right? Please, I invite you to go look at the history of American car companies underperforming and then whining about foreign competition, okay? There was so much Japanese xenophobia in the 80s because of fears of Japanese manufacturing coming to the US. Yeah, that's why cyberpunk has so many, like, actually Japan occupies the West Coast now tropes, you know? San Fran, Tokyo. Remember how just last month chat was literally arguing against decommodifying housing because they wanted to keep their summer homes? This is one of the reasons why being a variety politics streamer who just talks about whatever is so important, because fundamentally people's political positions are built from what's convenient for them, and that only changes when they think about it or second guess it. So you can have a person who's like a militant communist on 99% of issues, but then you bring up decommodifying housing and they're like, wait, what about my summer home that what about the summer home that I depart to with my family and I leave the butler to take care of our main estate? Well, you don't want to take that from us, do you? Only one home per person? What do you mean by that? And then it's like, oh, hold on. We still have some, like, work to do with your brain. Yeah, a lot of people were getting indignant about that too. You know, you have to vary it. You have to talk about a lot of stuff. What economists are you reading? Karl Marx, chapter 1, sentence 1 of Capital. Ban that Heyman guy. He's being annoying. Well, Carl, if you say so. I don't know why he would write that in the book from like 150 years ago. Doesn't make any sense, really. Damn, bro, he really was prophetic. Yeah, you know, aged well. Marx did think of that. He did not fail to consider that. Yeah, I think there's a default, like, economic populism bit, a lot of lefties, right? Like, Bernie Sanders did this too, but I don't like economic populism for America. I think it's only good if you're like a tiny developing country that's trying to build up local industry. We have local industry. In fact, America is so wealthy, we don't even need it. We don't need local industry. We can just buy it from other countries. Like, literally, we are so wealthy and we trade with so many countries. We can actually externalize. We can develop it as a foreign force that supplements us while we focus on the real money-making schemes in America, which is crypto grifting and being a barista. You know, the only ways of making money in America these days. OnlyFans, I guess. NFTs for a little while. I don't really give a shit about the concept of domestic manufacturing. What I care about is uplifting the workers of the world, and populism does not, or sorry, protectionism does not do that, by the way. That's one. And two, strategic reliability. So that means, yes, we shouldn't have all of our, our chips made in Taiwan. I don't think tariffs fix that. I think heavy investment in local industry fixes that, personally. Tariffs don't seem to, like, really help that much, you know, in a lot of ways. I think the tariffs on the superconductors are more defensible. I still don't like them, but they're more defensible. I think for the most part, I really do support free trade, at least in the context of tariffs. I don't like artificially walling off trade between countries, because trade between countries fosters mutual economic dependence, which makes countries less likely to invade. It increases the incentive for diplomacy. You know, one of the reasons why we can't do anything about Russia right now is because we have no economic ties to them. They've been sanctioned into oblivion. Can you imagine how much easier it would be to sway Russian foreign policy if like 40% of their economy was tied up in investments and like our businesses and their businesses and blah, blah. But no, like, we didn't really invest in the post-Soviet Union because, you know, we just decided to them instead. We decided to them with, you know, shock therapy and just steal their wealth and like, haha, you lost the Cold War. Now we're going to dip our fat capitalist balls on your face. And we're reaping the consequences. We can't do shit about Iran. Why? Because we don't have any economic ties to Iran. If we did, you know, maybe. 60% of Russian energy exports went to the EU. We couldn't leverage that for anything. Yeah, that's for a few reasons. The largest of which being that's not really economic, like, intertwining. Just having a ton of raw resources being sold one way, like, that's not really what I'm talking about. I mean, like, a deeply interconnected, meshed set, like bond economically, like like what America and China have. America and China aren't just like, yeah, China sells us $1 billion of oil or whatever the you know every year. Like, China and America are economically bonded. They are locked in, inseparable. You know, the idea of cutting off all trade between the two, it borderline impossible. Like genuinely. I don't know if it could be done. So that tie does give us some respective influence. I think that if we had treated China the way we treated the post-Soviet states, Taiwan would already be speaking China. They already speak Chinese, don't they? Taiwan would already be Chinese Taipei. Yeah, sorry, it's a euphemism I slipped into. Yeah, they would already be Chinese Taipei.